Hey, do you want to know the secret to making great videos? It's not just about producing great images. The secret sauce is actually sound design. Music, sound effects, and even the perfect voiceover can transform the completely boring and mundane piece of footage, like this, into a David Attenborough level production that turns the mundane into a cinematic masterpiece.
New York City. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
And the best part? Well, you can do it all with AI on Envato right now. Let me show you how. We'll look at a couple of typical workflows. We'll look at designing a soundscape for a documentary style scene, and also for a more corporate or commercial piece of work. So let me get onto Envato right now and we'll jump into it. Alrighty, so to show this whole workflow off, we've got to start with some footage, and I figured, like I said, nature documentary, so something like this, and then something a bit more, typical kind of, a corporate shot you might see, something like this. Let's add a soundscape, we'll add some music to these, and then we will also add some voiceover. So we'll jump into it here. You can find all of your Gen AI tools up in the top here, and you can go to whichever one you need. So we'll jump into SoundGen to start with. Now, for our nature documentary, which we'll start first, let's just think of a couple of things that we might like to add to this. I'm thinking probably some wind noises, some sort of like nature bird sounds. I don't know where this is. I think down in our file here, this says it's in Norway. I don't know what is, what kind of animal sounds we're going to be hearing in Norway, but for the sake of it, let's just do bird sounds and some wind for this. And then when we go into our corporate scene here, we'll attempt to do some footsteps. We'll see if we can get them to match up. We've got what looks like traffic in the background. Is that maybe a train? That looks like a train in the background there. And we'll just do some ambient city noises as well. So we'll start with our nature documentary first. Let's just start with ambient nature sounds. And I'm just going to not touch length or influence or anything like that. And we'll send it and we'll see. Now, let's say we like this, we can just download that, and that's pretty straightforward. That will be our file, or we can hit this little refine results little button here. So let's do that. And that brings us into this section here. So play this through, and you can hear that, we've got ambient nature sounds with soft bird calls, soft water trickling, which sounds pretty nice. Now, the great thing about SoundGen is you've got different things like the length of the track, the influence, and that's the influence of the prompt into the track itself. You've got very specific things, so like the bird call intensity or the water trickling intensity. You've got other things as well, like the ambient sound level, the bird species variety, and the water sound type. Now you can see these are obviously very specific to what we've prompted, and that is in fact because the way this model works is it picks up on those intricacies of the prompt, and then it will give you tweakable variants based on those things that are in your prompt. So let's say, for instance, we want the birds to be a bit more intense, so we can kick that over to intense, and the water trickling intensity to be moderate. We can regenerate that then, but have a look at the ambient sound level. We can just play around with that. The bird species variety, we could do varied species, and water sound type, stream, fountain, or drip. It's going to be a stream, isn't it? So let's regenerate and see how we go. So I might download our original and then this one as well, and I can use those in our track. But then what happens if we want to layer these things our own instead of having them all in one? We can of course just generate those ourselves. So let's just do like a natural wind sound. Natural wind through forest, and see what comes up with that. All right, so that one's pretty intense. It's given us sort of like more of wind into a microphone. And same with that one. That one's a bit more natural. That one's actually probably the most natural. A little bit of a wind bump in the microphone, but I kind of like that. And then I'm also going to just do bird sounds in forest. This one is my favorite. But I think I might try and refine the results just a little bit. It sounds like reverb-wise, with those bird calls, it could be benefit from being a bit drier, so we'll add that over to dry. Chirp frequency, I'm going to pull that right down actually. Bird pitch variant, we'll pull that down as well so it's not too distracting. Chirp clarity, I'm going to try muffled. And so I hope you can see that through this, there's plenty of options to be able to refine your results and build out a really clear and credible soundscape for your videos. Okay, that's quite nice. I'm going to download that one as well and add that to our files that we're going to pop into our nature documentary. And then what we're also going to do now is move on to our corporate video. So we'll check that again before we move on. And so you can see here, we're looking at this train in the background, some footsteps on concrete, and ambient city noises. So let's find those in SoundGen right now. So footsteps, concrete, and I assume she's wearing high heels. We don't see her feet in this, but given her attire, I would say that she's probably wearing heels of some sort. And this one's probably the closest, but it sounds a bit wooden. So let's see if we can refine the result. Footstep speed, let's go that a bit slower. High heels, concrete. Room acoustics, we want this to be like quite an open space. Footstep clarity can be a bit muffled, and we'll regenerate that. All right, I'm going to download this one. I think it's probably the closest, and we'll see how we go with that in the mix. Now we're going to look for ambient city sounds. That one's got some sirens in the background, so I think I'm going to download that one. And now I'm going to look for that train going through as well. So train passing through urban center. This one here is my closest, I think. So I'm going to download that, but I also am going to try and refine the results as well. See if we can get it to happen over a little bit more time. We'll give it maybe like 16 seconds. Urban ambience, let's just do crowded. Train volume, we'll bring that down a little bit. We want this to be sort of more background, and train speed, we want it to be a lot slower. So this is what I mean about being able to refine these results. It's very specific depending on the prompt that you've input. And obviously you don't get this if you're browsing a sound effects library. They're not tweakable like these are when you've put in, say for instance, a train moving through an urban center. Being able to change the parameters of the train, for instance, is really handy. Let me jump over into DaVinci Resolve now. I'll lay all these up and then I'll show you exactly what they sound like. So as I'm putting this together here, I'm just going to play it through to you. And I think having two with the bird sounds doesn't really work, but so that's with two bird sounds. And I'm just going to mute this one. That sounds a lot more calm and serene. So we'll leave that there for now. And we'll move it over to our corporate one. All right, so I'll just play you this one now with all of these layered up. Got the train in the background, some sirens, footsteps, which I've just done, you know, a rudimentary job of syncing up with her movement. And that sounds pretty good. So let's move on to MusicGen now and see how we can start to layer all of this together. Because remember, these are all a sum of their parts. They're not just the individual pieces of audio to use. We're building a soundscape here. So for instance, if I just played the footsteps, that just obviously doesn't really sound right. But, you know, add some of the train in there. And then bring it all in. And it adds this whole extra level. So where can music come into it?
This video is brought to you by Envato. Unlimited downloads of high quality assets and a full stack of AI tools. Every type of asset for any type of project. Follow the link in the description and start creating now.
So what are we going to create? Well, I've got a couple of different prompts in here. So let's just add my first one that I've written up, which is going to be nature documentary music, orchestral, inspiring, 70 BPM, David Attenborough style. Now I can go through and pick the duration, I can pick the mood, I can pick the genre, the theme, the tempo, the energy. There's a whole lot of things that I can customize here, and I can also turn lyrics on. We'll talk about that a little later on. Or I can just put this prompt in and hit generate and see where we go. So let's start from there and we'll move on to more of the refinement soon. All right, so it's going to generate a few tracks for us here. It does multiple, but you can listen to them once they're ready to go in this UI. So let's just start listening to them and previewing the songs. This one's gone for more of a high energy, upbeat version. What about this one? Probably more of what I was after there. Now it's adding a few more drums and things like that than I would have thought it might with this kind of orchestral note that we've put in here, but maybe adding this David Attenborough style here has thrown it off. But let's just let it do its thing and we'll see what other tracks it comes up with. And don't worry, we can always just refine this prompt. That's the beauty of this. There you go, that's a bit more of that orchestral inspiring. We'll see what this one does. And the good thing is we can always play these through and then tab out into our video project to see if anything's working. That one feels actually pretty good with that, but we'll try this one. That's gone from feeling a little bit more inspiring to feeling a little bit Harry Potter once you put it with the aerial shot over the lake. You know what? I think I like this one the most, so I'm going to download that track there. But just for the heck of it, let's go and add a different prompt in here that doesn't have David Attenborough in it and see what comes up. So we've got this other one, majestic landscape music, emotional connection to nature. Let's copy that, paste that in. Yeah, majestic landscape music, emotional connection to nature. So I'm going to generate that one and we'll see how we go. Now this is good because you can see here we've put nothing in this prompt that is necessarily like genre specific. So we've kind of gone for a vibe rather than a specific type of music. So it's obviously returning things that are different than what we asked for in the first place. But again, it all comes down to prompting, and with anything Gen AI, it really does come down to what you feed it in terms of your prompt as well. So we've gone relatively simple here, but you could go very in depth. You could put an entire paragraph in here that tells MusicGen exactly what you want to hear, and you'll get exactly what you want to hear. And you know, for the sake of it, let's tab out and we'll go to our project here. And I think we can agree that our initial one that we downloaded is probably what we're after. So let's cap that there and we'll move on to generating some stuff for our corporate project. So I'm going to chuck in cinematic corporate music, uplifting, aspirational, 110 BPM, commercial style. And you know what? Let's pop lyrics on as well and we'll just see what it does. Now the lyrics workflow isn't going to be for every person or every project, obviously, but you know, it's a nice handy feature to have as well. So play some of these through and we'll see what we got.
Forward of victory, till I reach the sky.
All right, we're getting pretty epic. Now, again, it's pulling lyrics from a very small set of information that we've inputted. You can write your own lyrics, and also if you really wrote something thoughtful in your prompt in terms of what you wanted the song to be about and the lyrical contributions you wanted the LLM to make, you will get obviously a different product, and maybe that's a whole video. So let me know down in the comments if you want me to take you through generating actual songs with actual lyrics rather than to create a music bed for video projects. It's something that would be very fun to dive into in a lot more depth. Golden glow at night. It's obviously not going to work for our project because we want that corporate commercial style. So let's jump back in, we'll throw another prompt in the mix and we'll see what we get, this time without lyrics. And once again, we're going to throw something in there that doesn't have any actual relation to, you know, a musical style. Alrighty, let's see how it did with dynamic corporate soundtrack, forward momentum, professional ambition. And let's tab out into our DaVinci Resolve, play it through to see what that feels like. Yeah, it feels a little bit down tempo, probably a little bit down tempo. We'll keep going. All this feels a bit more corporate. I don't know if it fits the color grade. I don't know if that's a weird thing to say, but it feels the grade on our shot is, I don't know, not as chirpy as that. So let's keep going. Classic. Now, I'm not a musical guy, but I don't know what the right term is for this, but this kind of ping pong echo effect on the kind of plucky guitar. Oof, I've heard that many times before in my my life as a corporate filmmaker. And I'm not making a joke here because like we put in corporate soundtrack, so this is obviously doing a really good job. Oh. Completely changing the mood. Again, really changing the mood. You know what? Just to prove a point, I'm going to go with this one. Just to show how different moods can be. You know what? I'll download a couple of these. And we'll take them into our video edit and we'll mix them down. But also, before we do that, we're going to look at VoiceGen as well to give a little bit of a soundtrack to our videos. So let's jump into VoiceGen now. I've got some pre-written scripts that I've got for our various projects that we're working on now. And then we'll load it all up into DaVinci Resolve, get it all mixed, and we'll see the results. So actually with VoiceGen, you've got VoiceGen proper, which has a bunch of these different voices, and you can audition them here.
I'm Amara, and every red carpet moment is my time to dazzle and inspire.
I'm David, and I'm dedicated to bringing the news to life with clarity.
I'm Colin, and I'm happiest when I'm syncing along.
So you can audition these characters, which I actually think is it's quite a good workflow. Just being like, oh, I want David to read it, or I want Cooper to read it. Like you don't have to remember some specific thing. Like, oh, I want that kind of male middle-aged news voice, or male middle-aged conversational voice, or whatever it is. You're just like, oh, David's my guy, and this might be by design. I've just had this thought as I'm looking at it right now because I'm trying to make a David Attenborough kind of documentary, and this guy's name is David, but it's pretty good.
I'm David, and I'm dedicated to bringing the news.
So I think I'll use that one for our documentary. And then who do I want for our corporate commercial? Well, let's find out. We'll play through.
I'm Larissa, and nothing makes me happier than...
I'm Mel, and I love turning everyday moments into something unforgettable.
I'm Maya, and I thrive on closing deals that create success for my clients.
Oh, that one feels pretty corporate. So let's go with Maya and David. So we're going to go with our David character here. And we've got our voice script written here for our nature documentary. So I've selected David there. Let's hit generate.
Here, in the heart of an ancient wilderness, where crystal waters reflect towering pines, nature reveals one of her most breathtaking sanctuaries.
I mean, that's pretty good. Let's download that one. And then who did we say for the other one? We said Maya. So let's find Maya. We'll add her in and remove David. Sorry, David. And then we'll grab our script here for our corporate commercial piece of filmmaking. Drop that in.
Success isn't just about reaching your destination. It's about embracing every step of the journey with confidence, purpose, and unwavering determination.
I like it. All right, so now that we have all of our building blocks, let me put it all together in DaVinci Resolve, and I'm going to show you the results. All right, I've done a couple of quick edits here. You can see I've got our base here of our sound effects, I've got our VoiceGen, and I've got our MusicGen here. I'll just collapse them all so you can see. And all I've done is a little bit of mixing in terms of the volume here, and some ducking of the music track. No other effects have been used, and obviously I added a couple of extra pieces of footage here, so enjoy.
Here, in the heart of an ancient wilderness, where crystal waters reflect towering pines, nature reveals one of her most breathtaking sanctuaries.
There you go, that feels very nature documentary coded. Now what about this corporate commercial?
Success isn't just about reaching your destination. It's about embracing every step of the journey with confidence, purpose, and unwavering determination.
I could see a little logo pop up there. So there you go, that is very quick sound design with Envato's AI stack. Two completely different projects, two completely different moods, but one incredibly powerful workflow. What took sound designers hours with expensive libraries and professional voice talent in the past, well, we just accomplished it pretty quickly using a bunch of simple AI tools. From building that foundational soundscape with SoundGen, layering the perfect musical emotion with MusicGen, and then crowning it all off with professional narration through VoiceGen. You now have everything that you need to transform footage from the everyday mundane into something truly cinematic. So now it's your turn. Jump into our AI tools right now with a standard Envato subscription. And it's not just the audio tools as well. We've of course got ImageGen, VideoGen, ImageEdit, GraphicsGen. And if you want to know more about the visual approach, I made a video on that as well. I'll link it down below, as well as a link to sign up to Envato today. Okay, until next time, happy creating.